Good afternoon. It's Museum in Lotus, and today is in the afternoon setting because today it's an important day. What's the significant day today, Mr. Pino?
It's National Day, Singapore National Days. Let's not forget.
Yeah. So to start off, of course, happy birthday, Singapore. Today is the 40th episode of Museum in Lotus, and just so coincidentally that today is the 9th of August. It's Singapore's 57th National Day, the birthday of Singapore. So, before we get anywhere further, we should cheers. Hopefully, you're well prepared with champagne at home, especially for those of you who have gotten quite a lot of champagne from us, the Lohong Perry La Cuvée. So, cheers to us, cheers to Singapore. How do you say it?
Buon compleanno, Singapore.
This is the Italian way.
This is the Italian way.
This is the Italian way of saying happy birthday. Okay, can I try to write?
Saying happy birthday.
Happy birthday, yeah. Let's try writing that. And so we know that if you wish in English, it's happy birthday. Huh?
Yes.
In Italian, you will say it's bon, B-O-N.
B-U-O-N.
Oh, B-U-O-n. Okay, B-U-O-n. Really? Buon, yeah.
Buon.
B-U-O-n.
And then compleanno, C-O.
C-O.
M-P-L-E.
P-L-E.
And then anno, which is A-double-N-O.
A-double-N-O. So is this the correct thing?
Compleanno, perfect.
This is how bon compleanno.
Anno.
This is how you say happy birthday in Italian. Actually, what does it mean? Bon compleanno, two words.
Okay, bon is good.
Bon means good.
Good. And
Okay.
then I would just say anno. Anno means year.
Bon means good. Anno means year.
Yeah. And
Okay.
comple basically tells you about the years that have gone by so far.
Completed
So the
years.
completed years.
Okay, so it's good completed years.
Good completed years. Anniversary. Of course.
One full year, then it become a full year. So it's actually bon compleanno.
Compleanno.
Compleanno. So that's good completed years.
Correct.
Am I
Good
right?
completed
So
years.
how do you wish someone like a happy 57th birthday?
Buon 57esimo compleanno.
Okay.
Because I'm referring to the 57th.
So you slot the 57 in between.
Yes.
So however you pronounce 57 in Italian, which is buon
57esimo.
57esimo.
Yes.
Yeah.
50 means 50,
50.
then 7 settesimo, and then we have compleanno.
Compleanno. So you see, when we can know a lot about how people see birthday from how actually it's interpreted.
Yes.
For Italians, I suppose that if you have completed a year, that is super worthy of celebration.
Super worthy of celebration.
Yeah, especially,
Yes.
so that's why good completed years.
Good completed years.
And of course, when we look back in English, we know that in English, actually, we just say that it's happy birthday, which means that celebrate on the day that you were born.
Yes.
That is significant as well. We have happy
Yes.
birthday. I don't know, right, that you will know. In Chinese, we have many different ways of wishing someone happy birthday. Many. It can be a class for that. Really.
Many.
Yeah, I mean, most Singaporeans might know the basic. You might know the most easy, which is the equivalent of happy birthday.
Yes.
Okay, so we have happy birthday, right? Okay, as I'm saying, if you are watching it now, before you can prepare yourself before tonight's fireworks and all those celebration by Singapore, you can type into the comments. I see a lot of people saying that happy 57th birthday and so on. You can actually type in the comments, how would you greet someone happy birthday in Chinese? What are the different ways to actually greet someone happy birthday in Chinese? You can put it in the comments. Like, I see Eileen saying that happy National Day, happy birthday, Laura is here, Andy is here. How do you actually wish someone happy birthday in Chinese?
And you said it can be expressed in many different
ways. Many. We know the most basic, the most direct form is that you have happy birthday. Am I right?
Yes.
And in Chinese, it is probably you have heard it before. It's just called 生日快乐. 生日快乐, which means that it is a birthday, but they flip it around. 生日 okay, which means birthday, 快乐 happy birthday, 生日快乐 that's the most basic form.
Right.
But there are more elaborated forms of wishing happy birthday.
For instance?
For a lot, yeah, there are a lot of instances with that. For instance, you can wish someone in Chinese, especially for more seniors, you can wish them 长命百岁. You can wish them this, okay? You realize that it always comes in fours, most of the time, okay? This is one way you can wish your seniors. 长命百岁 is very simple. It means that 长命 means long life.
Yes.
Which means longevity. So it's long life and 100 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it means a long life and 100 years old. This is one way to wish,
Beautiful.
right? And if you manage to think of something, you can put it into the comments as well. And then there's something else also that's quite unique in terms of Chinese. Other than wishing someone 长命百岁, you also can wish someone, let's say, there's this saying called, let me write this, it's called 福寿安康, okay?
So, Ankang?
Very good, yeah, you see, I'm doing Italian, you're doing Chinese, that's Singapore, right? Yeah. It's 福寿安康, let me write this first, okay? It's like this. Later you're gonna write this, write the same thing, yeah. It reads like this. That's 福寿安康. Fu means prosperity.
Yes.
Shou means longevity.
Okay,
So-
prosperity, longevity.
Yeah, so this is about money, okay?
Right?
And this is about longevity. Okay? Ankang, that means that both of these things are at peace and harmony. That you have both of these things.
Oh.
福寿安康. So you say that to a senior who is like, oh, congratulations on your 75th birthday, 福寿安康, 祝你福寿, wishing you 福寿安康. That's a more elaborated way of saying this. Not just 生日快乐, that's too base. This is too base, you know. Yeah, there's something more. And then you have something even more than that, which we really think about it, it tells you what the Chinese are thinking about when they tell people happy birthday. And what do you think? What do they think when they're talking about birthdays? Right? We have this whole thing, this longer sentence. Some of you all, if you have the right birthday letters or birthday greetings to your grandparents, you know, just writing a 生日快乐 is not enough. You need to have more of that. Yeah, you have the second phrase, which is called 寿比南山. Okay, which reads like this: that may you be 寿比南山, 寿比南山.
Also 4 characters.
Also 4 characters. You realize it's always 4 characters are the things that Chinese students would fear the most in Singapore because they have to memorize all this, 250 of this, and go for exam. But you know, in a sentence like this, it actually encompasses a lot of knowledge because it's a very terse language. One word can mean many things. That's why when you do translation, English might take a paragraph like this, Chinese might take half of the space. 寿比南山 actually means, you see, Daryl is here, 新加坡国庆快乐. That means Singapore National Day, Happy National Day. Okay, that's a good thing. Here we have other sentences that will allow you to wish Singapore or someone, a senior, more intensely. I say, oh, you are knowledgeable, you know something like that. 寿 means how long you're going to live, your longevity.
Longevity.
Okay, so this is a keyword, huh? Be, that means that it's comparable or it's better than. Nanshan, that means that it's better than the southern mountains. Your longevity is comparable to the mountains in the south. That means that you are going to be very long life. Yeah.
As much as the southern
Mountains. I don't know where are the southern mountains, but I think they have been there for a very long time. So your longevity is as long or comparable to the southern mountains. And actually, there's a statement before this. If you want to do the full thing,
which is
I'm going to give you a crash course on Chinese today. When's your birthday?
in May.
Okay, you can use this. You can use this next year. Yeah.
Yes.
Because someone of your age, you can definitely use all this. Yeah. Right. It's another 4 letters. 4 letters. 4 words. which would be a full set if you do all these 8 words. If you go to someone and you do these 8 words, they will be very shocked. It's like, oh my God, you know Chinese? Yeah, if the whole 8 words is this. This is the full 8 words. I'm waiting for you to read them. Yeah.
No, I'm not capable.
It reads, so this is the first 4 words and then the second. We read this just now. It's called 寿比南山. Your longevity is as long and comparable to the southern mountains, right?
Yes.
The first phrase, which comes before that, is called 福如东海. So these 8 characters you're supposed to do in one go is supposed to be 福如东海,寿比南山. Wishing you, blah, 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 the whole thing. These 8 characters. So this thing, it's matching, or comes in a set, actually. And this phrase here actually means, 福 means prosperity.
Again.
Yes, there's just simply too many words in Chinese that means prosperity. It's very complex.
But isn't this prosperity?
No, this is longevity.
Oh, longevity, yes.
See? Yeah, so this is prosperity. The prosperity rule is the same. That means that the prosperity is just like your prosperity is just like the eastern seas. Donghai is eastern seas, like the seas that's just off Fujian, Shanghai. Wow, your prosperity is so great. It's like the eastern seas. And your longevity is as if it's like the southern mountains.
I see. Which one is the most frequent in expressing happy birthday?
So if it's just about happy birthday, most of the people now would just say 生日快乐, happy birthday. But if they know that it's about for a senior, like they will not just stop at happy birthday. They might say 生日快乐, 万寿无疆, like you know you have your longevity knows no boundaries, and then they will bring out these 2 phrases.
I see.
This is the 2 most classic phrases when you wish someone good health and good birthday, especially for a senior.
And what would the senior reply?
Well, they reply with red packet lah. That's the thing, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So if I wish you in May,
yes,
when it's your birthday,
yes,
it's obligatory or it's
yes,
customary for you to give me a red packet.
I see.
Yeah, with money in it. So this is the thing, yeah.
It's restitution. You've given me a
No,
compliment.
yeah. And actually, you know, they are prepared because for some, how old are you, may I know? I forgot. Yeah, because you always feel like you're 50s. Yeah.
So?
How old are you?
I'm 71.
71.
Yes.
So, you know, once you are above, in Chinese, once you're above 60s, 70s, right? Every 5 or 10, 60, 65, or sometimes 68, because 68 is lucky, 70, you're supposed to hold a huge banquet.
Okay.
Yeah, because to celebrate, am I right? You hold a huge banquet. Yeah, because 寿宴, like the banquet is for your longevity.
And it's organized by the...
By you, yeah.
Oh, I see.
The Chinese find a lot of things to torture ourselves. Yeah. It was organized by you or actually organized by your children or your disciples or the people who follow you. So you're supposed to have this thing and then you know, Mr. Pino is celebrating his 78th birthday, let's say. Or 78 is a great number.
Yes.
It's a milestone. So, okay, we will do this birthday celebration. Wow, 100 tables, Shangri-La, that kind of thing. Yeah. So everyone will go over there and then they will, when they come and see you, they're supposed to say phrases like this.
And you have to hand...
And you are prepared. You are already prepared with red packets. You say, and then you say, nice, yeah, or say, quiet, yeah, and then you will give the red packet. That's how it is.
Okay.
Or if you know Chinese New Year, they will say a whole chunk of things. Like there's so many ways to wish Happy New Year in Chinese. 新年快乐 is just the most basic Happy New Year. But the more you say, technically, you should get more red packet.
I see.
Yeah, so this phrase will get you somewhere in the middle, yeah. Yeah, wishing you prosperity just like the eastern seas and longevity like the southern mountains. I mean, it sounds nice even in English. It sounds great even in English. Just think about that.
But in Chinese, it's so rhythmical and so beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So it's 福如东海,寿比南山. So this thing is really something. Yeah, and you come to think of it, you really look at these 2 phrases and you come to think of it, that like the other phrase that I just showed you just now, the 福寿安康, actually it's about the same rendition, you just shorten it, like 福寿安康, but you have both. So for the Chinese, when you look at the way they greet, which will score a high score if you do something like that, that longevity or living an old age is not just enough. Not enough. Like, you need to complement it together with prosperity.
Prosperity.
So this whole thing comes hand in hand. To live a long life, good. But what's great? The great thing is that if you have a long life and you have prosperity as well, your longevity is just like the mountains, and your prosperity is like the oceans.
I see. Can this be referred to a country?
Yeah, of course. I mean, today we celebrate, the whole nation celebrates Singapore's 57th birthday.
Yes.
Right? What if I say this? Will I be banned from certain countries? I mean, there are countries who celebrate their Independence Day.
Right.
Right? Or whatever day they celebrate. But there are many countries who celebrate their Independence Day that are definitely longer in independence compared to Singapore, because today Singapore is 57. In the nation's years, it's considered still sort of like a younger nation compared to many other nations. But Singapore is not just celebrating 57 years of independence. Singapore is celebrating 57 years of independence and prosperity. Don't you think so?
Prosperity.
Yeah. Don't you think so? Yeah.
Yes.
So some nations, I mean, they can celebrate like 80, 90, 125 years of this and that. But if you look at it, yeah, you have been independent for a long while, but you didn't get the first thing. You didn't get the Furu Donghai. You didn't get the prosperity like the Eastern Seas. So the Chinese would regard it that it's actually quite an irritation if you live a long life, but you're without money.
Yes.
I mean, to put it bluntly, it's a bit like this. And this concept of longevity, long life, to be coupled together with prosperity, I would say is a great export of the Chinese culture to the whole world. It's a great deed that the Chinese has imbued and shared with the world, that they go around sharing wherever their footprints are, that, you know, longevity is great, but, you know, you should have a great wealth as well. So even you're old, you are well-to-do, you are good enough. So this is the concept that the Chinese has to bring. I mean, you look at the Chinese communities around the whole world.
Yes.
Right? Even how, we often say, of course, Singapore is definitely an independent country. And, but a lot of teachings, they actually got it from the Chinese influence. Like, why are they so particular about whether this person has enough to spend or enough to take care of himself by the time they retire? The debacle about the CPF thing. They say, you must make sure that you have... Yeah, but that because you're going to live a long life with medical science, hopefully. And then what about your prosperity? So this is the idea that Chinese, or the ancient Chinese wisdom has shared and influenced the whole world, right? Don't you think so?
Absolutely right.
And today we are surrounded by antiques, wonderful antiques. If you are noticing that right in front of us, we have a huge long chest. You might think that there are two chests put together. They're not. I'm sure Mr. Pino will explain in a while. I can say first that these antiques, including the ones that I'm putting my handphone on, they are from Tibet.
They are from Tibet.
We know Tibet in ancient China is a bit remote away from mainland, but despite their own cultures, religion, and so on, they are actually hugely influenced from the Chinese culture, by the Chinese culture.
And a demonstration would be provided in examining both the items that we have. In this case, we're talking about a long, narrow chest.
This chest right in front of us.
This beautiful chest. And then we will also comment about these small tables, where technically speaking, these are for monasteries, both of them.
Right.
And these small tables were used as altar tables, possibly by a High Lama.
Let's take a look at this long chest first.
Let's take a look at this long chest. Now, if you look carefully, it's made to look as there are two smaller chests.
Right.
In everything, in the details of the cartouche, which is the central motive, and I will touch about the central cartouche and what it represents. If you look at the frames, if you look even at the handles, they have two handles. They could only have had one Instead, no.
Here we see
They
the
would-
handles.
The handles
Right.
here and the handles here.
So
the two handles.
it's supposed to be separated in the middle in the sand, so two
Yes.
shells, and then we have two handles.
Two handles. And when we look at it, basically we see the snow lion. And
Right.
that is the symbolism of what the Tibetans, and in particular the Buddhist Tibetans, used to believe in.
We have talked about this
Yes,
snow
we
lion
have.
before, and definitely something that's very related to Singapore as you are celebrating 57th birthday today. But as the camera was closer to the snow lion, I also saw this one word that has absolute no denial. You can't say no, there's no other story to it, that is 100% Chinese influence and everything to do with Singapore's birthday today. And it's, am I
soul.
right? Here, the soul.
The soul.
Here, this word, yeah, this word here, and actually it repeats itself, you know, here,
Six times
Six
on
times.
each of the panels.
here,
Yes.
here, here as well, and then the one down there. Those 6 of the similar words. This is the word of soul. This is the word that we are talking about since the start of the show.
And it's longevity. But interestingly enough, they repeated the same symbolism also on the other section of this long, beautiful, narrow monastery chest. So the longevity. Interestingly, the longevity here may have 2 significances.
Oh,
And in my opinion, it has the significance for the people who this was possibly given to, but also the longevity of Buddhism.
right.
So it's a double meaning. Let me also add, apart this Su, we have another small symbol, which I don't know if you can capture, very, very small, this time only on one section. And by looking at it, not being able myself to read Tibetan, it's a symbol, which either means the donor, or it can even mean the person who crafted
This one.
this, yes, who crafted this amazing chest. That's only on one side.
Here, there's one there, or one here.
Yes.
There we have it. We can also see a clearer image of the word soul. This is absolutely Chinese, yeah.
And
this is
they're on
Tibetan.
both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides.
This is Tibetan, and this is definitely Chinese. This is
it's
definitely
Chinese 100%.
Yep. Yeah. So this is the word soul. Yeah.
Yes, which is not the only Chinese character that we see. We will see others, and I will tell you as we're moving forward in the description.
Right.
Now, in the middle, what we see the snow lions. The texture of the snow lion is magnificent. By looking very careful to this wonderful item in the collection of Master Yun, this chest, before the depiction took place, was actually covered by a very, very thin textile, possibly Muslim cotton. It was glued, and that would have facilitated the depictions. So we see this wonderful 2 snow lions. What do they represent, the snow lions? The protectors. Again, they are protecting what is inside of this chest. And we will talk about this in 1 second, and what actually it contained and it was meant to have, and why it was just one and not 2 separate chests. Why one? It must have contained something relatively long. And indeed, you would be right in coming to this conclusion. It had tankas, and the tankas are those rolled, beautiful images which would represent the life of Buddha or various episodes of the Buddha's life.
But that's the longevity about the person who owns the chest.
Yes.
And the longevity of the contents that are inside.
Of the contents of what is inside.
That's why we see this word soul. I mean, in connection with today, Singapore's birthday, we hope that Singapore will have great longevity and of course prosperity like the eastern, western, southern, northern seas. That's very important,
Yes.
yeah. So the soul, it's extremely important. And
Fundamental, I would say.
do you recognize that actually this is that word on
Yes.
it? Yeah. But maybe friends who are watching now might not recognize.
Why?
Because this is the traditional text. This is the traditional way of writing soul, this
Yes.
word. Now, people tend to write it simplified, but I will skip the history, but they write it like that now, so that it looks simpler, easier to write.
Right.
So this is a two difference. But if you go back to the ancient word of how it is written, because most of the Chinese words, actually Chinese is very easy to learn. Most of the words, they are like pictures.
But you have to memorize so many pictures.
There are 24 alphabets, but a basic Chinese, if you consider yourself quite well learned, to know 1,500 different characters, it's basic. You need to know about 3,000 to 4,000 characters to be called an expert, at least. Okay, so this will be one of the words. So, this is how it is written now. In some places in Hong Kong and Taiwan, they're written like that. In mainland China and Singapore, they're written like this. But if you go back to the picture of it, and you'll realize that how magnificent the idea of this whole word is, that would actually go back to the whole phrase that you should have longevity like the southern seas and prosperity like the eastern oceans. Because long, long ago, this word, it actually looks like this in picture. Everyone draw something back then. It looks like this. This is the first part of the word. What does it symbolize? Do you anything from it? You are definitely not like this. You are way healthier than this.
So what does that mean?
It looks like, it actually means that it's like a person, an old person who is.
Oh, curved.
Yeah, no.
It needs.
You see now? If I tell you, you kind of see it.
I can see it now.
Yeah, so this is how the first part of the word is like long, long ago. And then where does this part come along? Actually, it is like this. They have something like this, which actually represents farmland.
Farmland.
And regulated farmland. And also or lands that are, if you have more than one piece of land, you will need to actually segment them. So it just means that when you grow old, the support, it's actually your farmland.
Oh, I see.
Do you see that how it puts in this picture for you to see? And so this is one of the most original ones. And after that, what happened was that as the time went by, then they added something to the picture. Mm-hmm. They added this thing to the picture. So this became one word. This is a mouth.
It's a mouth.
Yeah, there are two ways of saying. One is that because the word sounding of the word so and ko sounds alike. The other is saying that, you know, when a person has reached a certain age, old age, and they have a few lands, and whenever it comes to their birthday, it's worthy of celebration. And therefore, we should go over and say happy birthday. Or we should, you know, drink. We should drink to many great and prosperous years to come. Like, you know, you're supposed to have a birthday party when you are 78, because you missed the one when you're 70, so you're going to have one at 78.
I look forward to
Yeah.
it. And the many red pocket that I will be
packets,
giving
yeah.
away.
Yeah. So you have to judge by what they say to you, and then you decide how much you give them. So this is, and after that, some age later, they added a hand here as well. So this whole word eventually evolved into this word.
I see.
The hand was there to actually mean that you should congratulate the person who is of old age. This is actually the verbal thing, this is the hand thing, so it comes all together, or having control of the feels. So even in the characteristic of this word, when you are old, that's one thing. But longevity in Chinese, the perfect sense is that age and prosperity. Age and prosperity. And actually, I think we can see the same thing in this chest. That's why I said the concept of birthday in Chinese is actually a great export to the many cultures around. Because you mentioned just now, not just that we see the word so we also see other small little symbols around that actually means longevity, they mean prosperity.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. For instance, we will see later, actually we can actually see along this frame a recurring motif which is both shared by the Chinese and it's shared by the Tibetan. It's the Rui motif.
Oh, here.
Yes. Along this
over here.
whole frame.
That means it will extend to here, the center part as well.
Yes.
Right? So while we look at, we're sort of like seeing a double, but it's not, it's one whole chest. These are what we call the Rui motifs.
Rui.
Which
means good fortune.
Yeah.
And at the same time, power. So for an old person to have the possibility of the power, the physical power, and the blessing of a good fortune means a good time to enjoy when you don't have the physical attributes than when you were in your 30s or your 40s. And beautiful significance, I would say.
Yeah. This Rui, you talk about this two words, this is how it's written actually. It literally means as you wish.
As you wish.
As you wish. Rui means as you wish.
Yes.
But as you said, that if you see certain sculptures, this old gentleman holding a piece of something that is an exact symbol of this, I can't really draw, but actually it looks like something like this. And then they have something at the head and something a little bit at the tail. It looks a bit, this is a lousy drawing, yeah. It looks something like this. This is a Rui, and it's to symbolize, as you said, status and power, prosperity. Yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is the Rui that's going on. So while you have great longevity,
yes,
you must have your wishes coming true, according to what you wish. So these two sides of this whiteboard coming together is exactly the exact thing that this chest is representing. So
again, another reiteration is when we go into the meaning of the snow lions, basically what do they represent? They actually, for Buddhists, as I mentioned, is the protector of the Buddha. And many times they're seen, sometimes even 8 of them, holding the throne where the Buddha sits. Now, in this particular rendition, we know that the snow lion represents many things, amongst which power, strength, fearlessness, and joy. So this is what this beautiful 2 mythical animals represent. They're often shown with a white body. And then I ask you, why white body?
Yeah.
Why? Now let's think about Tibet. Let's think about the location. This is the roof of the world. So often during the year, and when we think about the high altitude of Tibet, 3,000, 3,200 meters above the sea level, they're actually covered by snow and glaciers. So it signifies and it represents not only the Buddhist faith for the Buddha, but also represents the characteristics of the country. Now, in this particular case, you will see that there are mirror images. One looks at the other. As I earlier indicated, it was covered by a very thin cotton to make easy the representation of the depiction, and therefore the 2 snow lions. They are celestial creatures. They recognize to have many qualities, beautiful balance, which of course is very much appreciated by the Buddhists. Now, one more item I would like to sort of indicate. They are contained into a cartouche.
Yes, they are.
And when we look at the cartouche, inside there's another symbol. which is the bat.
The bat?
The bat.
The bat is there?
Yes, the bat is there. If we look very carefully.
I think I'm getting on the edge. I can't see it. Yeah. Maybe it's me who's having a longevity. Yeah. Oh, yes.
See,
Yeah.
the bat is here.
Right. You are right.
And this is another symbol which is typical
Oh,
Chinese.
yeah, that's a bat actually literally means prosperity.
Prosperity.
Because in bat in Chinese it reads 蝙福. It means two things. It means 偏福, that means that it's indirect wealth, which you're familiar. Or it means that 偏偏有福, that means that, yeah, somehow fortune will favor me. It's about fortune. There's nothing about bats other than money, yeah.
Yes. Now, when you happen to come, please get closer to see the design of these two snow lions. Now, on top of the textile, there was a sort of plaster, very light plaster, which was applied, and then it was work on the plaster. So if you come and actually touch delicately, you will feel the skin of the animal. Now, look at the mane. The mane is rendered in a blue-greenish color.
Right.
Look at the beautiful tail, and then you will see that in one of the paws, it has a beautiful jewel.
Right.
And that is reminiscent, in my opinion, of what is the Buddha.
Right.
Now, what we have seen so far, again, repetition of same concept. Not so much repetition, I would say, but it's reiteration. And reiteration of beautiful symbolism. Symbolism as good fortune, as power, which again, it's very much shared with the Chinese. Now, when we get out of the cartouche, we have this amazing red colors. We've already examined the saw, which we know what it means. And we have also understood the various way that this was represented.
Yes.
Now, let's examine. We have the four corners. And the four corners are also being depicted with arabesque. Now,
Arabesque.
Arabesque. There are scrolls of designs. But when we look at it, is there any other link with China? Yes, there is. And this basically is in the Forbidden City.
The Forbidden City.
In the Forbidden City.
The one in Beijing then. Oh, this is the one?
That's exactly the one.
It looks like I won't say an exact copy, but the design and the idea, it's evident.
Absolutely. You would see the cartouche. Just examine one of the two sections.
Right.
The central cartouche and then the four corners.
Right. So, I mean, other than the most obvious, the longevity, this Chinese word that we see is definitely from China, that you see that this design itself, even the design, it was very much Chinese influenced, which means that we actually have a chest here in Master private collection.
Yes.
That is actually a shadow or an epitome of how the Forbidden City looks like. This is from Beijing, am I right?
This is Beijing.
This is Beijing.
This is Beijing.
This is
Forbidden
Beijing
City.
Zijingcheng Forbidden Palace. It was built, Tang Song Yuan Ming. It was built in Ming.
Ming period.
Yeah, it's built in Ming, yeah. They will explain the colors here. Oh, wow.
So that also tell us about the attraction that China and what China used to make had for the Tibetan very, very strong. They were fascinated by what China was able to make. And I'm sure many Tibetans must have visited China and therefore Beijing and come back and have this design and reproduce them onto this wonderful, beautiful chest or pair of chests, which form one
whole set. The more you talk about it, the more I'm curious about what's inside now.
why don't we open it?
Yeah, because, I mean,
and we take a look at it.
because it's so long, it could have been divided into two chests, but it's actually combined as one, mirroring images, everything in duals. Let's take a look. Yeah. Two hinges open up. Okay, all the Rui and the clouds that we see here.
Yes.
And we see that it's super long. I mean, inside I placed one of Master Yun's, let me just get to this thing, unfinished piece of artwork. It's here, there's one. But for sure in the past, a lot of the, you mentioned tankas.
Tankas.
Or the long scripts and maybe some ropes were actually handled inside. So
Absolutely,
it's
yes.
so long because if you can actually see, there's nothing is blocking here. It was meant to keep something so long.
So long.
Just like the word longevity. It means longevity and it's meant to keep something that is so long. It's really stunning, yeah.
Now, one thing I ask you, they could have made this chest and only have a central closure. Why did they want to have two? Of course, they wanted to make it symmetrical, but I have another idea.
Feels like a nuclear arms thing. You need two keys to it.
Can I say, they would not have allowed one person to open this because of the importance of the content. Therefore, there were two locks with different numbering or lettering, whatever that is, and it would only have been opened by two different persons.
Oh, which means let's...
A system of security.
When we put this back and we start to reimagine that there are two locks, one here and there, which makes perfect sense, that the two locks, the keys will be owned by different people.
Different people.
The numbers will be owned by different people.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
therefore, to open it would actually require
Both
two people. It's a bit like, you know, what I just said, it's like the nuclear arms today. You need two keys to go in at the same time to actually get it unlocked. So the contents of this box, longevity, prosperity, and
Very
importance,
precious,
and it's of extreme importance that you need two different people to get it open.
It brings me back to my career when I used to work in the bank, and when I became manager, one of the roles that was given to me is in the morning, half an hour before the opening of the doors of the branch, I used to go down and open the safe. But I had the requirement of another officer. I would do the combination, but the keys would be held by the different officer. And of course, you understand, it was money held and in the safe. And if only one could have opened, the bank would have been at risk.
Right.
So I believe in that this was the same concept.
There was the equivalent importance.
Equivalent importance.
That we see this thing. And you talk about pairs, I can't help to notice, but we have a pair of tables. You call this tables?
These are actually altar tables.
Altar tables, so it's a pair. So just beside me, me and Mr. Pino's, we have a pair of altar tables, and I know they look exactly like a pair. And because you were talking about the symbols and stuff, I see something similar like this.
The Rui.
Seems to be the Rui motifs here, once again.
The ram
Oh,
horn.
that's outside, yeah. The horn thing is a Rui thing. So we see a pair of these chests and actually, not chests, tables. And
Yes.
on each of them, there's actually a pair of these Rui symbols as well.
Yes.
The prosperity, it's also on these tables.
The prosperity is also on this table. And again, another Chinese symbolism.
Right.
This is a very simple, unpretentious pair of altar tables. And these altar tables were meant, in my opinion, for a high-standing Lama.
Right.
And let me just give a very brief description. We see here two rectangular, narrow, black-colored. They almost look like drawers. They're not
They
drawers,
almost look like drawer, but they
look
don't
like drawers. They're
look
not.
like drawer at
They're
all.
not, because you can't actually open them. Again, one reading is that they would possibly be the cover, the upper cover, and the underneath cover of what was a paper manuscript cover.
Right.
So it gives the idea of protection. So the idea of also the importance of this little altar table on which possibly manuscript covers were set aside and the paper manuscript were actually read. But also other ornaments, Tibetan ornaments would be placed on these two tables, and they would be side by side. Only the front part is actually being depicted. When you look at the structure, these are actually earlier than, in terms of period, than this long chest that we have examined. The long chest is 19th century. I would even say the first part of the 19th century. When we look at this two altar table, end of the 18th century, early 19th century. Very simple, as I mentioned, unpretentious. The front is depicted, all the rest simple, nothing. And you can actually see how the weather and otherwise have actually consumed the tables.
Surface, yes. So they are about 200-300 years old.
Yes.
A pair, great symbolism and influence from the Chinese.
From the Chinese.
It just can't brings to the thought that other than the birthday, the connotation of what it means to have a great birthday, that it's influenced by the Chinese. You have prosperity, you have longevity, and things that come in pair. Actually, it's pretty Chinese as well.
But can you imagine how difficult these two pieces together have come in the hands and in the collection of Master Yu? Not easy. Many times they were split for whatever reason. Instead, they are together. And there's a transmission of energies between the two of them. So when we go then to the bottom, we see the sort of ram horn of the Rui, which again, as we know, it's good fortune and power. The power is definitely in the hands of the Lama, High Lama, but also on the items that were placed on this altar tables. I love the simplicity, and again, it's a rural, possibly maker who either donated or got the order from the High Lama and actually made it.
Right.
So, very simple. A very elaborate piece that we have just examined, and a less elaborate earlier piece.
Yes, I mean, if you bring it even further, that the concept of pairs, like even on one table, there's two Rui symbols there. The concept of pairs is actually a very Chinese thing, because we always say yin and yang. We don't say yin or yang. It's both things must come together. Just like what we were talking about the entire session. It's about longevity, yes, live a long life, and prosperity. That's yin and yang. And also there's a symbol of longevity here today. Not just on the chest, not just on the table, but actually in Master Yun's art. Because there's a representation of longevity. Because the Chinese would love to depict all this auspiciousness somehow. For instance, the one here, this gentleman here, this older gentleman here, this is actually what we call a Shou Xing Gong, or Shou Xing. Shou is the longevity.
Yes.
So he is the personification of longevity, as you see, yeah. Because so he is represented by a big head, and which means wisdom, and you know the beard is like so long, so he's definitely live a long life, and you know holding the peaches, holding the dragon cane, which means power, and so on. So he is the personification of what it means to be long life, longevity. One. The second is in the paintings behind us. We already know that these paintings actually they draw cranes. Cranes in Chinese, they also mean longevity.
Yes.
That's why we have a saying in Chinese, it's called 松鹤长青. The pine tree and the crane, they will forever be green. So it's like they have longevity and they never get old and so on. So when we wish someone also as well. It's like other than the 福如东海寿比南山, the one we just said, the eastern seas and the southern mountains, we also wish that, oh, hopefully you can be 松鹤长青. That means that you can be as evergreen. The word is evergreen, as like the cranes and the pine trees. That's what we have here. And of course, if you look at the dualism of yin and yang, of prosperity and longevity, it is very easy to find it actually in Martin's art, because other than cranes, he has these flowers. These flowers are peonies. Peonies in Chinese, they just simply mean prosperity. So you have longevity here, and you have prosperity over here. And what more to say? I mean, they're all the gold and silver, which are everlasting, and which means prosperity as well. Even in material, it means prosperity and longevity.
Amazing.
So what we have here, the chest, which influenced by a lot of Chinese elements, longevity and prosperity, we have it on the painting as well. We have it on Martin's feng shui painting as well, longevity and prosperity. And today, it's Singapore's birthday. Not only we wish that Singapore would have great longevity, we also wish that Singapore would have not just the eastern seas, no, not so simple, maybe all the 7 oceans, all the continents, all sorts of prosperity will come into this island, this land.
Continuation of prosperity.
Absolutely. So there we have, we would need to choose the winners from last week.
Yes.
And before we go on to ask questions for this week, 3 people, please. As you choose 3, okay, why don't you put all of them here? While I ask a question, and the question I think is very simple. We have been talking about this particular word. There is a recurring symbol here, over here, and it's also one of the words that I teach you today, that what it means to be when you are old, but you have several lands and so on. What is this word that is actually repeated over here that means longevity in Chinese? What is this word that we have over here? Because this word itself, if you really look at the ancient text, it means longevity and prosperity. You have the land beneath you. That's the thing. Yeah. So type in the word in the comments and let us know what it is. That is the word, and that is the answer for today's question. So 3 people. 1, okay, we have Geraldine Xia. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Geraldine.
Okay, you have longevity and prosperity. Lee, am I right? Lee Ah Noi. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And the last one, Chel Chua. So we have Chel Chua, Geraldine, and Lee Ah Noi.
Longevity and prosperity.
Yes. So yeah, I want to see the answers already coming in. A lot of people are typing the correct word. Some of them even go to the extent of typing the most traditional word. Wow.
Congratulations for disability.
Yeah. Yeah. So wonderful. Once again, wishing Singapore a prosperous and long-lived birthday. Yeah, prosperity and longevity coming together. Happy birthday, Singapore.
Happy birthday, Singapore.
And
Buon compleanno.
Buon compleanno, yeah.
Bravo.
Bravo, yeah. You know, with more champagne, probably my foreign language will just get better, yeah. Cheers, and we'll be seeing you next week at Museum in Lotus.
Next week.
Cheers.